pancakes. In Germany, they make pancakes from the flowers. That before these berries came, this was flowers. It comes in the same sort of shape. And in Germany, they'll make a real thin pancake batter, dip it in there, and then fry it, and then cut off all the stems, which the further you go up the stem, the more toxic it is. And then you eat it like a pancake, and it's very nice.
Like your funnel cakes, but more healthy.
But the flowers are really the best medicinal part of these. They're astringent, they're great for flus, they're great for colds and that kind of thing. They have slight antibiotic properties, so it's good for colds and that kind of thing. I used to make something if I'd get an infection that was a mix of peppermint, yarrow, and elder.
Oh, the flower?
The flower
the
of
yarrow
elder.
flower as well?
The yarrow, the flower as well. And the berries of this are tasty, but they're little, and so it's a lot of seed and not much fruit.
Well, on their own, because I actually eat and use them a lot, on their own they have a weird taste, and if you eat too much of it, it is slightly poisonous as well. So what we usually do in Germany, we make a creamy jam out of them, like more butter. So you
can eat the seeds.
Yeah, you can, but I mean you wouldn't actually
eat rough, and so
lots
jam
of
is
it.
nice.
There's actually a species difference between the elders in Europe and the United States. So these are all Canadensis, and
yes,
ones in Europe are like nigris, or
yeah, there's several species. Yeah.
Make a butter out of the first fallen apples and these, because they kind of.
It's a very important medicinal herb. The flowers of this one.
Looking and
it's a
like
pretty
velvet.
plant. I like it. Very interesting.
Velvet.
some people actually use this as an insect repellent when they're trying to grow like squash to get rid of the flea beetles.
They just grow one near their squash.
Or take the leaves and mix it in as a mulch.
This one has several common names, and this one she handed me a while back, but there's some small ones growing here. This often grows in an area like this, near the water perhaps. This is called lady's thumb, because the size of the leaves are often like a thin lady's thumb. Not maybe quite as thick as a man's thumb, but maybe my thumb, or a lady's thumb. We call it lady's thumb.
Do they have the thumbprint in there?
Yeah, some of them do.
Some do.
Yeah, you kind of have a shadow. Usually they're bigger. In the middle of the leaf, you have like a dark spot that looks kind of like a thumbprint. They're usually bigger. I mean, if you want to learn it.
What's that one for again?
Huh?
What's that for again?
Well, this one is edible. Certain Native American tribes had used the flowers for like food, like they'd use it almost like a grain, the seeds and flowers of it. But every part of the whole plant of it is edible. It's medicinal. It's good for the urinary system, good for the heart. But the thing I like this for is that they say that they also call it heart's ease. And that'll help you remember that it's good for the heart, heart's ease. But they say that if couples take a bunch of it and hang in their house, they just can tie it up into a little bundle like that and hang it somewhere in the house, it will help them to get along.
That's what we need.
To have a good relationship.
It's a good thing we have like a gigantic plant in the front yard.
Could you guys in your house? Since they're newly engaged, soon to be married.
Yes. Thank God for that.
Let's keep moving. What time is it?
108.
108. Here's some type of elm. The leaves are so big. This is probably the American elm species. And this, I believe, is a loblolly pine. You can tell by the number of needles in there. Be careful because she's fishing. But the pine needles have expectorant qualities, and so they clear out mucus from the lungs, and they're good if you have a cold or a congestion, that kind of thing.
But we have a good relationship with those animals.
You can eat it. The younger leaves in particular, You can eat cooked like spinach or even eat them raw. It's very nice. It's a very good wild edible, and it's got a lot of vitamins and nutrients, lamb's quarters there. It's related to a Mexican cooking herb called epazote, or they call that also Jesuit's tea.
Quinoa too, right?
Huh?
Quinoa as well, right?
Yeah, same family. And so this one is pretty distinctive because the leaves, as they come out, will have white, kind of, looks almost like some kind of white dust coming in the middles, in the young leaves as they come. So if you see that, you're pretty certain that you've got lamb's quarters. And lamb's quarters can get very tall, and don't put your hand up here though because you'll touch the poison ivy. See the vine of poison ivy. But it can get taller than I, and really you want to eat it when it's shorter. It's best when it's younger to eat. This is the other reason you shouldn't just run through the woods. Poison ivy and briar. A lot of thick briar patches. You hear about briar patches. So the young leaves can be eaten, and they have a little bit of a sour flavor, just like the oxalis, which we tasted. This is related to sarsaparilla. A type of sarsaparilla is in this family, and so this has strengthening properties like sarsaparilla, and it has blood purifying properties as well.
That's cool. I didn't know you could eat the leaves. I always just grab the young tendrils.
The leaves are edible, and they have a sour flavor. I like to make a nice tea in the springtime out of the young leaves of these and the young sassafras leaves.
Are the old leaves okay?
Yeah. I mean, they're okay, but they're better if they're younger. Just like with most stuff, the younger leaves are safer, better flavor, and less chewy. But it's got a little bit of a sour flavor. If you want, you can try a leaf from this. Make sure you get from the right plant, though. The locust tree, very poisonous. Does have some uses, but that's poison. But I want to show you one more herb before we stop. So if you come slightly this way, there's a shady patch you guys can get in. Who knows what this is? Sassafras. This sassafras, all this up here is sassafras. It grows into a tree. Not a huge tree, but a tree nonetheless. The leaves of this are used in cooking. In Louisiana, they're very popular. It's called gumbo filet. And they use it to thicken their filet gumbo. It has a little bit of a lemony flavor. It's nice. It's edible. If you guys want to try some sassafras leaves, you can try some. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And this mosquito repellent too.
Sometimes they have the one lobe, and sometimes they have the 3 lobes. And so everyone smell or taste, whichever you prefer. I'm going to eat some because I love it. Everyone smell or taste some sassafras leaf, because then I want to show you how different the root is. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
If you're ever taking herbs in the wild, make sure that you take it from a place where it's abundant. You don't want to take the last of anything ever. And ideally you want to have people's permission to take what you're taking if someone owns the land.
Right, that's true.
You want to try to ask the plant's permission too. I'm going to try to get a little piece of the sassafras root so you can smell it. This can be notoriously hard to dig up because it goes way down deep and it likes to grow in places where there are a lot of rocks and things. But let's see what we can do here. Oh yeah, pass that around and smell it. This is what they used to send root beer with. It's a great herb.
Ah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it.
The oil of this, the FDA has said we can't put in foods anymore, but the root is okay. This is a great herb. It's fragrant. It purifies the blood. It's strengthening. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful herb. One of my favorites. I grew up as a child watching the Smurfs, and the Smurfs loved sassafras. They went looking for sassafras all the time in the forest, and now I've grown up to be a big white Smurf.
My cat is named Sassafras.
Did you smell it?
Oh, you good?
I strawberry.
Yeah, that is.
Interesting.
And so I thank you all for joining us today. We're going to conclude here, and we may try to do this again, so keep watching on Facebook or come visit our tent and ask us. And we do other classes in herbal medicine from time to time, so again, watch on Facebook. If you guys would like to make a donation, please do. It helps us with all our work that we're doing, and the SID could collect those if you'd like to make a donation. And if not, thank you for coming.
This is great. Thank you.
Thank you.